"Mom, he's not breathing right. Something's wrong with the air." Lisa's scream ripped through the marble halls, shattering the usual stillness of the Harry estate. Patricia dropped her cleaning rag, heart pounding as she sprinted toward the master suite. Red warning lights flashed from the smart panel walls, sirens pulsing like a heartbeat gone mad. At the doorway, billionaire Thomas Harry was slumped against the frame, gasping, eyes wide, skin gray, the world spinning around him. Then black. Welcome back to Whisper Realm. Tell me how you all are doing today. This is a story that will interest you. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share to make it go viral. Let's continue. 1 week earlier, Lisa John hadn't planned to spend her summer mopping million-dollar floors. But when her mom, Patricia, asked for help at the estate in San Aurelia, she couldn't say no. The job meant extra money for tuition. And besides, how bad could cleaning be? Bad started the second she walked in. The mansion was all glass and silence, like a museum no one lived in. It smelled faintly, metallic, like rain on hot concrete. Every sound echoed, even the soft drag of her sneakers on marble. Patricia worked there for years, loyal and quiet, but Lisa wasn't wired that way. She noticed things like the hum in the vents that seemed to breathe when the house did, or how the air upstairs felt thicker, almost heavy. "Don't overthink it," her mom whispered one morning. "Rich people build weird houses. Just do the job." But Lisa couldn't stop thinking, because every time Thomas Harry passed by, thin, pale, eyes too tired for his age, he'd cough like the air itself hurt him. The man who built the world's most advanced ecotech lived in a home that seemed to be choking him. And as Lisa dusted the endless glass surfaces, she couldn't shake one thought. This house was too perfect to be safe. Something in it, something unseen, was watching, waiting, and quietly taking his breath away. By the third week, she started noticing the patterns. The maintenance crews didn't come during the day like normal people. They showed up after midnight. A van with no logo, headlights dimmed, parking by the east corridor entrance. She'd catch the muffled sound of tools clinking, men whispering. By morning, the van would be gone, and the air would hum louder. During one late shift, Lisa overheard the estate's supervisor, Mr. Kerr, barking orders near the laundry hall. "New rule," he said, his voice tight. "Nobody cleans the east corridor filters. Nobody goes near that wall. Understand?" Patricia nodded, head low. Lisa froze behind the doorframe. That night, while wiping the window sills near Thomas Harry's wing, she overheard his doctor through the half-open door. "The readings don't make sense," he said, frustration seeping through his tone. His lungs looked chemical burned. "This isn't environmental or genetic. It's something else." Lisa stepped back before they could see her. Her chest tightened. Later, when the house had gone still, she pressed her ear to the cool metal of the vent outside Thomas's suite. There was again the faintest hiss, rhythmic, like the sound of something breathing behind the walls. She lifted her phone and started recording. The air had a smell tonight, sharper, metallic, wrong. "Lisa," her mother's whisper sliced through the dark. Patricia's face appeared, pale and furious. "What are you doing? Do you want to get us fired?" Lisa lowered the phone, heart pounding. "Mom, there's something in the vents. I don't want to hear it. You keep your head down. You hear me? We need this job." Patricia turned away, shoulders trembling. Lisa stared after her, throat tight. There are moments when silence feels safe, and others when it feels like betrayal. If you've ever kept quiet when your gut screamed the truth, you already know that weight. You carry it for years. Maybe that's why stories like this matter, to remind us that courage doesn't always come from power, but from the ones with everything to lose. Lisa promised to drop it, but the moment her mother walked away, she whispered to herself, "I'm not done." And somewhere behind the walls, the house exhaled. The house was silent, too silent for comfort. Midnight stretched long and heavy across the marble halls as Lisa crept past the servants' quarters, phone flashlight trembling in her hand. That sound again, the hum, low, steady, mechanical, coming from the east corridor, the one Mr. Kerr had warned them never to enter. Her pulse thudded in her ears as she pressed forward. The air grew colder, denser, tinged with that same metallic tang that haunted the billionaire's room. When she reached the end of the hallway, she saw it. A thick steel door, slightly ajar, a green light blinking from within. Lisa hesitated. One push, and she crossed a line she could never uncross. She pressed her palm against the door and eased it open. Inside was nothing like the rest of the mansion. No gold, no marble, just machinery. A sleek, humming console dominated the room. Its screen glowing Hairy-Tech air purity system V.7.1. Transparent tubes ran along the walls, pulsing faintly with moving vapor. Lisa stepped closer. The monitor displayed a graph, chemical levels spiking, red warnings flashing. A soft hiss filled the silence, rhythmic and raw. Her breath hitched. "What is this?" she whispered. Then footsteps. She dove behind a metal cabinet, gripping her phone tight. The door creaked open. Daniel Wexler stepped inside, Thomas Harry's business partner. His reflection flickered across the monitor light. Calm, deliberate, he moved to the console and typed something in. The hiss grew louder. "That should finish the job," he muttered, adjusting a setting before glancing at his watch. Lisa's stomach twisted. Finish the job? Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might give her away. She pressed a hand over her mouth, waiting as Daniel exited the lab and disappeared down the hall. Only then did she breathe again, shallow, panicked breaths. Someone wasn't trying to help Thomas. They were killing him, slowly, precisely, intentionally. Lisa slipped out into the corridor, her hands shaking so violently her phone nearly fell. And for the first time since she'd entered that mansion, she understood the truth. This wasn't just a mystery. It was murder disguised as care. Lisa couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the glowing monitor, the red chemical spikes, the way Daniel had said those words, "Finish the job." By morning, her hands still trembled. She found her mother in the kitchen, scrubbing the same countertop over and over like she could erase whatever weighed on her. "Mom," Lisa began, her voice low, "I saw something last night, in the east corridor." Patricia froze mid-scrub. "Lisa, no." She didn't even let her finish. "You shouldn't have been there." "I had to. There's a lab, some kind of system connected to the air vents. It's leaking gas into Mr. Harry's suite." And Daniel Wexler. Patricia's hand slammed down on the counter, the rag trembling beneath her palm. "Stop." Lisa stepped back, startled. Her mother's eyes glistened, fear flashing sharper than anger. "You don't understand how dangerous that man is. Daniel controls everything. Thomas's accounts, the estate, even the staff contracts. He has power of attorney. He's fired people for asking the wrong questions." Lisa's stomach turned. "So what? We just let him kill Thomas." Patricia's voice broke. "You think he's the only one who can destroy lives here? If he finds out we know, he'll ruin us. I've worked for this family 10 years. I finally got a stable. Your tuition, our rent, it all depends on this job." Lisa swallowed hard. She could hear the exhaustion in her mother's voice, the kind that came from years of fear disguised as loyalty. "But Mom," she whispered, "if I stay quiet, he dies." Patricia's shoulders sagged. "You're not responsible for him, Lisa. You're just the maid's daughter." Those words hit like a slap. For a moment, neither spoke. Only the hum of the refrigerator filled the silence. Lisa looked out the window toward the cliffs, where the mansion's glass walls gleamed in the sun, beautiful and poisonous. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Maybe I am, but I'm the only one who saw the truth." Patricia turned away, tears streaking her cheeks. And in that moment, Lisa knew her choice was made. Some silences protect the guilty. Others bury the innocent. She couldn't let this one stand. The house slept under a fog-thick California night when Lisa slipped out of the servant's wing. Her sneakers made no sound on the marble floors. Down the hall, Patricia stood by the main staircase, pretending to polish a vase, her quiet way of distracting the night guard. Their eyes met once, a silent agreement. Lisa moved quickly toward the east corridor. The air grew colder as she approached the lab door, the same green glow pulsing beneath it. She slipped inside and shut it behind her. The machines hummed softly. The Hairy-Tech console blinked awake at her touch. She connected a small flash drive to the port, praying the system wouldn't need a password. To her shock, the files opened instantly. Rows of logs, timestamps, chemical codes. She scrolled down and froze. Output override. Manual adjustment detected. Gas release increased. 8%, 12%, 16%. Every few days. Each line a death sentence. Her heart raced. The poison wasn't random. It was deliberate, controlled. She searched the compound name and found it buried in a prototype file. Vapor X-13. An industrial chemical meant for air filtration testing. Never approved for human exposure. Her throat tightened. He's been breathing this for months. A shadow fell across the wall. Lisa. She spun around. Daniel Wexler stood in the doorway, his expression carved in suspicion. What are you doing here? Lisa's voice barely worked. Cleaning, sir. The filters, Mr. Kerr said to check. Daniel's eyes narrowed. For a heartbeat, silence filled the lab. Then he smirked faintly. Next time, don't work so late. It looks desperate. He turned and walked out. Lisa exhaled shakily, her knees weak. She yanked the flash drive free and pressed it to her chest. The truth pulsed against her palm like a heartbeat. Alive, dangerous, undeniable. Outside, the mansion's air purifiers roared on, pushing the poison through the vents once more. Some truths demand to be told, no matter the cost. If you've ever carried proof that could destroy someone and save another, you know that feeling. The weight of right versus ruin. And if you believe courage like that still matters, stay close. The next choice could change everything. Lisa didn't knock. She shoved open the heavy oak doors of Thomas Harry's study, the flash drive still trembling in her grip. The billionaire sat at his desk beneath dim golden light, a blanket draped over his shoulders. His skin was ashen, lips pale, eyes hollow yet sharp. Mr. Harry, Lisa gasped, barely able to breathe herself. You're being poisoned. His pen froze mid-stroke. What did you just say? She stepped forward, heart pounding. It's your air system. The filters in your east wing. Someone tampered with them. You're breathing in gas. Slow doses every few days. Thomas's gaze hardened. That's absurd. He coughed violently, clutching his chest. You think I'm sick because of some conspiracy? Are you trying to blackmail me? Lisa's voice broke. I'm trying to save you. She slammed her phone on his desk, the recorded data scrolling across the screen. The digital logs, the timestamps, the video from the lab. Undeniable proof. Thomas leaned forward, reading. His breath hitched. Manual override. Daniel's code. The door opened. Daniel Wexler stepped in, perfectly composed. Thomas? What's going on? Lisa turned, her voice trembling but fierce. You know exactly what's going on. Daniel's brows furrowed in feigned confusion. Poison? That's ridiculous. Lisa, maybe you're unwell. You shouldn't make accusations like that. Thomas's hand shook as he held the flash drive. Daniel, she says this came from you. For a moment, silence. Then Daniel forced a laugh. Too loud, too quick. Me? My God, Thomas, she's lying. The billionaire swayed in his chair, gasping. His cough deepened into a desperate wheeze. Mr. Harry? Lisa rushed forward. He's not breathing. Thomas's eyes widened in terror as his body convulsed. The hiss of vents filling the air. The system had activated again. Call 911. Lisa screamed as she tore at the wall panel, trying to shut it off. Daniel backed away slowly, face blank. Sirens echoed in the distance, lights flashing through the mansion's tall windows. Lisa dropped to her knees beside Thomas, her hands shaking uncontrollably. Stay with me, she cried. Please, don't you die now. Don't you let him win. The world came back to Thomas Harry in fragments. Bright lights, beeping monitors, the dry taste of oxygen through a mask. His chest ached with every breath, but for the first time in months, that breath was clean. Through the haze, he saw two detectives at the foot of his hospital bed, their suits dark against the sterile white walls. One flipped through a file. We've confirmed the logs, Mr. Harry. The air system in your east wing was remotely tampered with. The access code traces back to Daniel Wexler. Thomas closed his eyes. Daniel, his oldest friend, his business partner, the man who'd toasted their first billion together. Why? He rasped. The detective hesitated. He planned to incapacitate you, long enough to transfer controlling interest of Harry Tech before you could recover. Thomas's hand clenched around the blanket, trembling from anger and disbelief. He almost did. Beyond the glass door of the ICU, Lisa and Patricia sat close together in the waiting area. Patricia's face was buried in her hands. Lisa's was fixed on the window, staring through it as if willing Thomas to live. When a nurse motioned her inside, Lisa rose slowly, unsure if she belonged in a place this quiet, this bright. Thomas turned his head toward her. For a moment, neither spoke. Then, in a rasp so faint it barely carried over the heart monitor, he said, "You saved me." Lisa shook her head. "I just told the truth." "That's exactly what no one else did," he replied, eyes glassy with exhaustion. "Not my doctors, not my board, not even the people paid to protect me. You." He paused, coughing weakly. "You looked past the money. You saw the man dying underneath it." Lisa swallowed hard, tears stinging her eyes. "I couldn't just let it happen." He reached out a hand, fragile and cold. "Then I owe you my life, and I intend to make things right." As she took his hand, a flicker of something passed between them. Trust, gratitude, maybe the start of redemption. Outside the room, dawn broke over the city skyline. For the first time in years, Thomas Harry breathed without pain. 3 weeks later, the Harry estate no longer felt like the same place. The heavy, suffocating air was gone, replaced by the clean scent of salt and pine drifting from the Pacific. Sunlight spilled through the open windows, casting warm streaks across the once sterile marble floors. For the first time in years, the mansion breathed. Thomas stood near the entryway, his frame leaner but stronger, his skin no longer ghost pale. He moved with quiet purpose, cane in hand, eyes sharp again. The weight that had haunted him, of sickness, of betrayal, seemed to have lifted with the poisoned air. Patricia wiped a tear as she unpacked linens beside the staircase. "Feels like the house woke up," she murmured. Thomas smiled faintly. "So did I." He turned to Lisa, who stood uncertainly by the grand piano, dressed in jeans and a modest white blouse. "I've been reviewing the scholarship program we fund for environmental science," he began. "But I think it's missing something, a person who understands what integrity costs. Someone like you." Lisa blinked. "Mr. Harry, I don't." He held up a hand. "Lisa, you saved my life, not for money, not for recognition. You did it because it was right. That's the kind of mind I want shaping Harry Tech's future. You'll have a scholarship, a paid research position, and any support you need." Her breath caught. "I didn't do it for, I know," he interrupted softly. "That's why I trust you." Patricia's eyes glistened with pride as Lisa's composure cracked, a small, grateful smile breaking through her shock. Outside, the ocean wind whispered through the open doors, and the faint hum of the newly repaired air system filled the quiet. Not a warning this time, but a reminder of what had been conquered. For Thomas Harry, it wasn't just recovery, it was redemption. And for Lisa John, the maid's daughter who refused to stay silent, it was proof that truth, once spoken, can heal more than one man's lungs. It can cleanse an entire house. The morning light poured over the Harry estate like a quiet blessing. Dew shimmered across the gardens, and for the first time since Lisa could remember, the place smelled like life. Fresh soil, salt air, blooming jasmine. The hum of the new filtration system blended with birdsong. No more hissing vents. No more secrets. Thomas knelt by a small patch of rosemary and lavender, sleeves rolled up, dirt smudged across his hands. He looked up as Lisa approached down the stone path, her college acceptance letter tucked in her bag. "Didn't think I'd ever see you out here gardening," she teased softly. He chuckled, straightening his back. "Funny, isn't it? I built an empire around clean air and still couldn't see what was poisoning my own." Lisa smiled, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "Sometimes the problem isn't the system. It's the people running it." He nodded, thoughtful. "You're right. And sometimes it takes someone on the outside to see what those inside refuse to." They stood in silence for a moment, the breeze drifting between them. No wealth, no hierarchy, just two people who had survived something quietly monstrous. Promise me something, Thomas said, glancing at her. Whatever you do next, don't lose that instinct. The one that made you walk into danger when everyone else stayed quiet. I won't, she said, voice firm but warm. But I hope other people start listening too. And maybe, dear listener, that's the part we forget, how easy it is to look away when truth is inconvenient. Maybe the world breathes a little cleaner every time someone like Lisa speaks up. If stories like hers remind you of that, then don't just move on. Stay. Listen. Be part of the kind of courage that keeps the air clean. Later that afternoon, Lisa climbed in her car, Patricia waving proudly from the front steps. The mansion shimmered behind them, windows open wide, sunlight spilling through every corridor. Thomas stood at the garden gate, breathing deep, his lungs finally free. Lisa smiled through the windshield. This time, he's breathing just fine. Trust the story captivate you. Share, like, and comment your thoughts. Let's make it to go viral. Thank you.